Hi both bakers. Making tiramisu in 10 minutes is easy. The hard part is deciding which tiramisu of mine you want to make. My coffee tiramisu, summer berries, or now chocolate tiramisu. Yes, you heard me right, I said chocolate tiramisu. As always, the recipe can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com along with all of my other recipes. Okay, let's get started with our first step, which is melting our chocolate. So chocolate here is super important. I'm using bittersweet, which is 72%. You get the nice bit of sweetness and a little bit of a bitter kick as well. I'm going to melt this in the microwave, but you can pop it over a bain-marie and melt it gently. So there's our chocolate. Now what you want to do is melt this first because you want it to be nice and cool to add it to the rest of our ingredients. So I'm going to set that over to the side. So here I have my nice big bowl. Now into this we're going to whip up my mascarpone mix. So mascarpone, I am thrilled to tell you that I've got a recipe for this on my website. Super easy to make. It's just cream and some lemon juice. You can use store-bought or homemade. So put that into your bowl. Next, we're going to add in a little bit of sugar for sweetness. And then my favorite ingredient in the kitchen, vanilla extract, just to give it a lovely pop of flavor. Now I'm going to use an electric hand mixer. You can totally do this by hand. You just will need a lot of elbow grease. It also helps if your mascarpone is a little bit at room temperature. And all you want to do is just whip this up until it's nice and smooth and there's no lumps. So if you haven't made one of my tiramisus before, if you check out my website, they have hundreds of 5-star ratings and tons of amazing comments. So definitely put this one on your baking list. So that's nice and smooth. I love the yellow color that mascarpone has. It's just a really lovely cream color. So into this, next thing we're going to add is heavy whipping cream. Now for this, you do need a cream that will whip, so something over 35% fat content will work really well. Then go back in with your mixer and whip it up until it's nice and thick. So if you're wondering what makes this a 10-minute tiramisu, the difference between this and a traditional tiramisu is that there's no eggs in it. We're making a much quicker kind of a mousse, but you still get amazing results. This is looking great, it's lovely and thick. So now we're going to add in our melted chocolate to half of this mixture. Once your mascarpone is added to your chocolate, you want to fold it in straight away because otherwise it can actually block and set. So swiftly just mix the two together until it's all the way combined, just like this. Perfect. So I wasn't lying when I said this is a 10-minute tiramisu. We pretty much have everything ready, so let's bring it together and assemble it. So here's my dish for my tiramisu. This is 8 inches by 12 inches, but if you have an 8 by 8, that's totally fine, or something in and around that size. So a very important ingredient in tiramisu are ladyfingers. Now I made these in Bold Baking Basics. They're super easy and they taste amazing. Because I don't know about you, but I find them quite hard to find in the store, so you can make your own. Also, if you don't eat eggs, I have an egg-free version on the website as well, which is fantastic. So that's ladyfingers. Now let's talk coffee, a traditional flavor in a tiramisu. However, if you don't like coffee, you can leave it out. On my website, I have a note of how you can make this chocolate mix. So your whole tiramisu will be chocolate and a little bit more family friendly. So now that I have everything for my tiramisu, let's start with our first layer. So into a coffee, I'm going to quickly dunk my ladyfinger. You don't want to leave them in there too long because they can get soggy. Just a quick dunk and then lay it into my dish. And then just continue with the rest of your ladyfingers. Little dunky dunk. Out and then into your dish. It really only takes literally a second in the coffee to soak up all that lovely flavor. You don't want to end up with mushy ladyfingers. So just line all the ladyfingers as close as you can in the dish together. If your dish is a funny shape, just the way mine is, if there's little gaps between the ladyfingers, just fill them in with some cookie. You want to make sure that there's lots of cookie. So that's our first layer. Now our surprise layer on the inside that people will be wowed by is our chocolate mascarpone mix. So just go ahead and then generously scoop that over the top of your fingers and then just spread it out. So this is a really fantastic dessert, say if you have a dinner party. Make it in the morning, pop it into the fridge, and then you're ready to go at dinner time. And people are really impressed. Okay, so that's our chocolate layer. Now we're going to go again with our ladyfingers. And then remember, if there's any little holes, just fill them in. It's really incredible how fast this dessert is to put together. Okay, so our last layer is our mascarpone. Now what you want to do is just pop it on and then just spread a nice layer of it. I like to do a nice thick layer. So if you want to go all out with this tiramisu and Irish it up a little, feel free to add some brandy even into the coffee or into your mascarpone mix, and it will just lift up that flavor, make it taste so good. So now to decorate this, I was truly inspired by my bold bakers who submitted photos on my website. They put stencils on top of their tiramisu and dusted it in cocoa powder, and it looked incredible. So that's what I'm gonna do. So the first thing we're gonna do is dust it with some powdered sugar. Be very generous with the powdered sugar. So here I have these little stencils. I pick these up when I'm in shops. They're actually for the tops of cappuccinos, but they work fantastic for decorating cakes. So I'm just gonna gently lay that on top of the powdered sugar. Then here I have some cocoa powder, and I'm just gonna fill in the stencil. And then very carefully just lift it off. Then just do as many designs as you like. And just be careful when you're lifting off the stencil. If cocoa powder goes outside of your stencil, you can always cover that up with more powdered sugar. Just look at that, how beautiful, and such a simple decoration. That's what I'm all about. So now what you want to do is pop this into the fridge and just let all those flavors settle and marry together. You can make this maybe 6 to 8 hours in advance. Once your tiramisu is chilled, serve yourself a nice big scoop and dig in deep. You know I say a lot, I think this is my favorite dessert. This is definitely top of the list. Absolutely delicious. This is incredible. It has all those lovely different textures, the creamy mascarpone, a nice kick from the chocolate and the coffee, and then those soft fingers in the middle. This is a very sophisticated, big and bold dessert. Wow your friends and surprise your dinner guests with a not so traditional tiramisu. Head over to my website for the recipe, and remember, if you make it, rate it. I'll see you back here really soon for more bigger, bolder baking.